Happy Friday, everybody.
How are you doing, Miss Marquardt?
I love a good Friday.
Me too.
And I love doing science on Fridays, too.
I love science every day.
Me too!
Oh my gosh.
So what are we doing?
Well, let me tell you.
All right.
We're going to watch some videos on where steel comes from
Okay.
and where wool comes from. And then we're going to do some worksheets comparing what we learned about those two items.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
it
have
is.
no idea where steel or wool come from.
Yeah.
so
Well, you're about to find out.
we'll find out.
Okay.
Did you know that these bridges and these bicycles are all made of the same material? They're made of a metal called steel. Steel is a useful material because it is very strong, long-lasting, and can be made into lots of different shapes. But how is steel made? The main ingredient of steel is actually a type of rock called iron ore. So how do we get from this rock to this steel bridge? Let's find out. The quickest way to get iron ore out of the ground is to use dynamite. Once broken into pieces, the iron ore is taken to a factory and put into a very hot oven. The iron ore is mixed with other ingredients and melts into red-hot liquid steel. As it starts to cool, the steel is rolled and shaped into solid sheets. Now, the hard steel can be made into lots of different things. From bicycles to bridges.
Wow, that was awesome. It reminds me of getting iron ore on Minecraft. I didn't know how many awesome things you can make out of steel.
I
So
had no
cool.
idea.
Let's find out about where wool comes from now.
Woolly sweaters, woolly hats, woolly socks, and woolly gloves. Wool is a wonderful material for making clothes because it's soft and keeps us warm. But do you know where wool comes from? It comes from sheep. So, how do we get from these fluffy sheep to these fluffy clothes? Let's find out. In the winter, the sheep's thick woolly coat keeps it cozy. But as the weather gets warmer in springtime, the sheep doesn't need its coat anymore. So the farmer can carefully take it off. This is called shearing, and it's a bit like giving the sheep a haircut. But the wool can't be made into clothes just yet. First, it needs a good clean. So it's washed and dried. Then special machines untangle the wool and spin it into thin strings. The white wool is then dipped into big pots of dye to change its colour. Wool can be dyed lots of different colours. Finally, the wool is made into clothes. So next time you put on woolly clothes, you'll know who to thank for this amazing material. Sheep.
Wow, that was really, really, really informative. I learned so many things I've never known about wool and steel.
Me too.
And I'm super stoked to come over to this worksheet and show what I learned.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so we are on page 12, lesson 5 in your guys' science notebook, so make sure you open up to the correct page. As you can see, we have what we call a Venn diagram, which is 2 overlapping circles used to compare and contrast. Ms. Marquardt, can you tell me what we put in the outer parts of the circle? What do we use that part for?
Yeah, so anytime we're looking at these circles, we're going to put 2 different items that we want to talk about how those items are different or unique from one another.
Okay. So over here, you guys are going to write the word steel as the first material we learned about, the first video we watched. And over here on this side right here, excuse us for this right here, we made a mistake, so just overlook that. We are going to write everything that's unique or different about steel. On this side, we want you guys to write the word wool. This is a video we watched second where wool comes from. We're going to write the unique things here. And in the center where those circles overlap, we're going to write a couple of things that's similar about both of those items. So let's start with steel. And Ms. Marquardt is going to write down a couple things that we figured out that are unique about steel. Like maybe what color is it? Does it have one unique color or does it come in all kinds of different colors?
Well, it's kind of silver.
It
It
is.
looks like a silver color.
Yeah, I would write that down.
Okay.
Silver.
I'm gonna put that here.
All right. One thing I noticed about steel was that it was pretty shiny.
It is, yeah.
Mhm.
We can write that up here. Looks like it kind of belongs here.
Yeah. And I noticed that they used it to make a bridge. So
Oh,
what do you
yeah.
think? It should be pretty, should it be weak or
Oh, no, I think it should be really strong.
really strong?
Like
Yes.
my muscles.
Like Miss Marquardt's muscles. So steel is strong. Look at all those S words. Steel is shiny, silver, and strong. I think that's enough descriptions about steel. Let's look at the side that we talk about wool for and come up with some things that describe wool different from steel.
Okay.
Well, it's not very hard or strong, but it is pretty soft.
It is soft. I think that's why they make sweaters out
Yeah.
of it.
So soft would be a great word. And fluffy maybe. And steel, when we talked about steel, we talked about it being silver. But wool comes in many colors. It can be different colors.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they dye it different colors too.
So we could write many colors.
Yeah. All right. Once you guys have written down the differences on the outside part of the Venn diagrams, we're going to discuss 2 things that were similar about steel and wool. One of those things is where do they come from? Are they man-made or are they found in nature? Steel
Well,
and wool.
I'm going to step into this camera while I
Yeah.
ponder this question. I think we need men or humans to kind of help get these items.
Yes.
But steel really comes from a rock
Mm-hmm.
that's found in earth.
Yes.
And wool actually comes from a sheep, which is an animal
Yep.
on the earth.
Yes, you would be
So,
correct.
What could we write here?
Yeah, I would say that they come from things in nature or they are found in nature.
Found in nature.
Yeah. Awesome. And the second thing that they had in common, major thing in common, we learned at the end is that they can be made into different things. And while Ms. Marquardt writes that down and you guys copy that last comparison, I remember them talking about steel not only being made into a bridge, but a bicycle and many other things that you can use steel to make objects, man-made objects out of. And then wool, we talked about all kinds of things. Beanies and sweatshirts and blankets and all kinds of clothing that keeps you warm and things like that that you want to be soft and fluffy, used for those purposes. So if you need to push pause on the video right now so that you have time to finish writing this down, go ahead. But we're gonna move forward to the next page. We're still talking about wool and steel. And what we're going to be doing is just going in a little bit more depth of those materials. So at the top for material 1, we'll stick with steel as our first material and talk about even 1 or 2 things that you could use steel to make. So it could be used for, maybe Ms. Marquardt can say making and then you guys can list a couple things we can make out of steel. For example, a bike or bicycle. And then if you guys can think of a couple other things you remember from the video, you can add them to our list. Things that are made out of steel. Awesome. And then we're gonna jump down to the second material we watched the video about was wool. And we're going to try to remember some things that wool could be used for. It could be used for making, and then you can come up with a list of things you remember seeing from the video. Making a sweater, and then maybe you can come up with 2 other things you remember them talking about being made out of wool. Awesome. So again, if you need to pause the video, which I'm sure many of you will need to do, pause it right now, and you can finish copying what we said. And if at any point you need to rewind the video and pause it as well, you can do that. We have a couple more really easy, fun pages to do with you guys, where we are going to just talk about what things are made out of. So it says, answer these 5 questions. It says, look at the images above. Which items are made of wood? So there's 6 items. We have a clothes hanger, a table, looks like some Legos, a plastic bag, a rolling pin, and a pencil. So 3 of these items are made out of wood, and 3 of them at the bottom are made out of plastic. So we're gonna give you guys 1 of each, and then you're gonna have to figure out the rest of them. So Miss Marquardt, which one of these items definitely is probably made out of wood?
Well, I know the rolling pin is made out of wood because I have one of those at home.
Awesome.
I use it when I bake cookies. So I'm gonna write rolling pin.
So she's gonna write rolling pin, and then it's probably helpful for you guys to cross off the items you have already used. That way you're left with less to guess from. Now we're gonna look at the bottom part and try to find one of the items that is made out of plastic. And I kind of gave it away when I said plastic bag.
Yeah.
So I think we should go with that one as the one we give you guys, since it's super easy.
I think they can do this.
Yeah, and I think you guys can finish the rest of this on your own. If you want to push pause right now and finish writing these down, then you can flip the page and meet us on the next page. All right, so we have a picture of this big bridge right here, and we're asking you guys what material is the bridge made from. And I want you to remember what materials we talked about today, and I'm going to give you a hint. We're not going to write it down, but we want you to decide if you think it's made out of wool or steel. I think you guys can figure out what to write here. Wool or steel. Use your smarts. All right, number 4 says, wool comes from pigs. Is this statement true or false? Well, I know it comes from an animal, but I don't know if I remember them saying that it came from a pig. Yeah, probably. And there's one more question on the next page, and it says, which object is made from wool? Is it this beanie? Is it these cookie cutters? Or is it this sand bucket and shovel that you probably would use on the beach? Just put a check mark in the corner of one that is the correct answer. Only one of these 3 is made out of wool. Whichever one you think is made out of wool, put a check mark in that corner. And that's it for today.
Wait, we're done?
We're done.
Already?
Yes.
Well, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I hope you guys learned a lot about wool and steel today.